Hey, YouTube followers. I'm here with Hala today. He's going to do an interview on the 31 YouTubes in 31 days. Hala, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell us about some of the things that you do as an artist.
All right, so primarily, I think the hustle that we've been doing for a while is working with uh, my band Loud on 7th, and then as we were trying to build a name for us, then we created this open mic called Become, and now we're trying to figure out, what are we going to do next with Become. But really, I think the major thing for me is just trying to create spaces for people to feel comfortable expressing themselves and try to protect those spaces.
Who came up with that name, Become?
Um, so actually, I'm a fan of acronyms, but we were just trying to figure out different acronyms to come up with, and then that one was just actually BCOM, Brick City Open Mic.
Cool.
And then we switched it to Become because it kind of, I don't know, I kind of feel like it encompasses what we're trying to do. It's like, what are you trying to become,
So, and you've created poems in that venue?
I don't per se do poetry. I think I'm more of an MC, so primarily I like hip hop, but I like to produce stuff. So that's kind of how I got into working with bands, right? Like I show them a track, and then they would play it. And especially these guys, like you just show them the track for 10 seconds, they know how to play it already, So that's kind of where it came from.
You were telling me earlier about the MC. When did you start doing like the MC, and when did you know you were you like that?
Well, I mean, as far as MCing events, that came later. So it was really just MCing a track when I was younger, because the way I see it as it was like the first way I felt comfortable, like expressing myself. Like now I feel like I could just talk to you one-on-one and talk about whatever I'm feeling. But back when I was younger, I felt like art kind of gave you that abstraction where I could be like,
right.
oh yeah, these are feelings and thoughts that I'm writing about. They don't necessarily have to be mine, right? They could be. And then when I started becoming more comfortable is when people are like, yo, what's the song about? And then I'm actually expressing my personal feelings. And now I'm like a lot more comfortable expressing myself, like without needing any artistic license,
Yeah, you answered my next question. I was going to ask you, how did that artistry develop?
Yeah.
Now, you have any new ideas? How do your ideas come?
Just mostly from living and learning. I think that's like a gift and a curse that I have, is that
a gift and a curse.
Everything is interesting to me, but then it's really hard to focus because of that, because it's just like, my friends always tell me, they're like, oh, why are you working on this now? Now you're working on this, but just everything is interesting. So someday, like I have about 5 books I'm reading right now because they all interest me.
Oh, you too? Yeah. It seems strange. But, I mean, isn't that the life of the artist? Because if you don't, you're bored. I mean, you're bored, like, mentally and artistically if you're not stimulated.
Yeah, that's true.
Different ways, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess the curse for me is that once I get, I expend all this energy and I'm really excited, then I just need to, like, be recluse, And either I'm, like, chilling by myself somewhere, like today I want to go for a walk.
Right.
Or, like, I'm just sitting on the porch drinking, like, shooting the shit,
Right. Now, you were saying earlier, I was saying you might have something to say to the artist community. So you were saying, yeah, I got something to say.
Oh, yeah. So, well, this is actually, this kind of been brewing for a while. I think it's like an outgrowth out of Become, like this whole idea of trying to have space available for creatives, right? So originally that's kind of how the open mic came to be. Like John hit me up and said, oh, you want to do open mic here?
John Murray.
Yeah. And then I was like, all right, because I did it like about 5 years ago, but it was like paramount to me that it would be completely open. Like people could say whatever they want. And like that's the greatest thing for me, is when somebody's new and they go up there for the first time and they feel like they were accepted or valued.
Right.
That's the greatest thing to me. So anyway, then when I heard the mayor talk about this idea of creating an arts community, I mean, in his case, it was a physical arts community, right? And then I thought that's something I could really plug into, because I like, maybe like is not the right word, but I want to create these types of spaces, and then it just seems like you need political will and economic will and physical space to protect. You know, otherwise they're always going to take it. That's what I feel like.
When you say protect, who do you refer to?
Well, I mean, some of it is obviously people have been talking about gentrification, but to me, it's just in general this idea that that you have to be clear about. It's a clarity thing for me, right? You have to be clear about what you want, and then you define boundaries around that definition. You know, so for me, it was like, let's see if other people actually want to move to this neighborhood and try to have a physical presence that could be protected. You know, I think political will is already there with artists.
Right, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Because artists, number one, I think almost it's like Baraka, right? Art is political, so you can express those
ideas, viewpoints. Yeah, sure,
right.
Sure,
thanks.
Sure.
But then, but it's the money, right? It's just like the starving artist. So how do you empower artists financially?
Starving artists, right?
And like for me, I work another job, but I mean, I'd love not to.
Most
right?
artists do.
You know,
most artists do.
But I also feel like I'm comfortable there financially, right? So I'm like, well, what can I do because I spend my time making money at this job. What can I do with this money to try to benefit, like, the stuff that I care about, you know? So that's why I'm really interested in trying to create a movement around that. So that's why one was like to actually try to create this community physically. But if that's not like what all the other artists want, then I'm trying to figure out what that is and how can I support that.
Right. I agree with you. Well, one reason why I'm doing these YouTubes is because although the community is accepted, like you said, but you can go so far, and it's not really real in terms of making a living. But if the art is so important, if the artist is so important, then why aren't we really embraced?
Yeah.
I mean, we shouldn't have to go over and above just to make sure that this happens. So I agree with that point, and it's as if the artist is really undervalued.
Yeah.
When they are the most important piece or component in the community, whether you believe it or not. But it goes past lip service.
Yeah.
So I feel what you say on that.
And I think there's a point where it's not enough to just be like, you're good at your craft, right? There still has to be like, we still got to pay bills, right? So, that's really, I'm trying to wrap my head around that. Like, how can people be compensated for their contribution? You know,
I think that's the big question. I mean, we want to be compensated. There's so many artists in the city, and we're going forward. But I don't think the venues. Well, I actually know the venues that we have are not going to support.
I mean, the thing is, right? Because I think the venues in general, I mean, they're looking at money too, right? So they're looking at, well, what's going to make, maybe not necessarily, I don't want to paint every venue like they're just looking at profit.
Well, you can't.
But they're looking at like a sustainable profit, right? So sometimes supporting the arts doesn't always seem sustainable either to some people, right? So it really has to be, to me, it has to be really concrete. Like, this is what we want. And then those are the people you build with, right? Versus like, I'm trying to convince you that I'm worth something. You know what I mean?
I couldn't have said it better. I don't understand it. I'm saying the same thing again, and I'll say it again. I do not understand why the artist is devalued.
Well, so I was just reading an article about this, right? And there's the idea that, like, you already get to do what you love, right? So it's kind of like people feel like you don't need to be compensated for doing what you love.
No. I want to see that article.
But I think it's really more about, I mean...
Is it the city? Is it the stigma of Newark?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah?
Because I was talking to another artist, and we were talking about, we see artists all over the world. They get paid for doing little stuff that we do the same thing.
Oh, true. That I don't disagree with, but I'm saying I don't think it's particularly like due to the culture here. I think it's more like it's the economic condition here, right? So if there's not that money here, and the city's in debt, and people are in debt, then
I agree with that. That is pervasive, but I mean, people all over the world, they're making money with tech and with ideas and with media.
Oh, yeah.
So why can't the artists in Newark do that?
So I think that's the key, right? Is connecting to all those different things, right? Like artists need to be able to connect with the tech, or they need to be able to connect with what I feel is real estate or economy or whatever it is. I mean, real estate to me is a very tangible thing, right? Because you have to have somewhere to live. That's why I really like the idea that the mayor had. Like, oh, if you live there, you work there,
Right.
you know? And it's very tangible.
I wonder if we can get any updated information on who's buying those houses for creatives.
Yeah. Well, even so, like, I actually think, and this will be the time I look at the camera, right? I actually think if there's artists that are serious about doing this, I think I can find the money.
That's cool.
Maybe not all by myself, but I think I can find the money.
Cool. All right, so give me your tag so
Yeah.
so people know where we can hook up with
Yeah,
you.
so if you guys want to find me on Facebook, it's Hala Be Thy Name. And La on 7th, that's the number 7, TH. Find us on Meetup, meetup.com/become north. And I think if you do those three, you'll find me.
Cool.
Oh, that Indo.com too. That's my website with my music, like my personal music. People say I don't promote it that like enough, but it's kind of for me, you know. And if anybody likes it, then it's for you too.
Cool. Yeah, I heard the band. The band is good. And Hala, we talked when we were together when what's the name of the group we came together on? Next Door. The Next Door group.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was very impressed with just his overview and his analytics of the city and everything. And then we came back and we met in the artistic community. So I invited him on. I hope he'll come back on again. Anything else for the folk out there?
That's it, man. Thanks for having me, and keep doing it.
You too. All right, peace. Reach out to him. Peace.